at all these places. So before you design any security, think for every level. We'll be discussing the different types of security which we'll be placing at different places. Okay. In today's agenda, the physical security would not be a part, because we are going to discuss the security in the form of cloud. Okay. So let's see this second slide. In this slide, you will see that this is the shared responsibility. Now, what does it mean by the shared responsibility? In cloud, the responsibility is shared, means it's actually a shared responsibility model. Some of the things will be taken care by your cloud provider. Some of the responsibility will be taken care by the customer itself. So if we speak about physical access of the data center, who is managing that? So the provider manages that. In this slide, you see all the amber shade is the Microsoft, that is your cloud provider. All the blue shades is for the customers. So now who is responsible for which type of security? So if we speak about the physical data center, that is means managed by the Microsoft. If we speak about the physical network, so that is managed by the Microsoft. Now, the first column tells you the on-premises, means your own data center. In own data center, you are responsible for all kind of security, whether it is your physical security, operating system, application, network, identity, data. You have to manage everything. But if you are moving your resources to the cloud, responsibility will be shared between the customer and the provider. And which type of model you are choosing in cloud, whether you are going for IaaS service or PaaS service or SaaS services, in all these cases, the responsibility will be different, okay, depending on the service. Like in case of your IaaS service, you don't manage the physical infrastructure, but you would be managing your operating system and all the things above that. If you are going for a PaaS service, you won't be managing the operating system, but you would be managing our application, access, identities, data, all those things. If you are managing the SaaS, you won't even manage your application. That will be managed by your cloud provider. So he would be responsible for that security also. So that's why we call it as a mixed model. It's a shared responsibility model. So, right. Going forward, the next thing is the first service that you have is a Azure Firewall. Now, like every organization buys some different types of firewall in the organization. It can be your Cisco firewall, Juniper firewall, or Windows inbuilt firewall. Similarly, Microsoft provides one firewall service. We call it as the Azure Firewall. Okay. And in this firewall service, what you can do, you have two different types of rules that you can configure. So the first rule that we call it as an application rule. Using Azure Firewall Service, you can define that whether this FQDN can be accessed from this subnet or network or not. Like I have some abc.com, so it can be accessed from this specific network in this specific subnet in my organization. Similarly, you can define network rules. So when we speak about the network rules, here you define your source and destination. Source and destination means you define from this source in my cloud, in my cloud service, and to this destination on this port and protocol, whether the communication has to be allowed or whether the communication has to be blocked. So that we call it as a network rule. Okay, so these two types of rules you have in Azure Firewall. Then we have a DDoS service. DDoS comes in two tiers in Azure. One is basic tier, which is a free one and enabled by default. Then you have a standard one. The standard one is a paid one. Okay, so in this why we use the DDoS? So DDoS will help you protecting and mitigating your volumetric attacks or protocol attacks. Okay, and it works on your resources for your application layers. then the next thing that we have for securing our network is network security group. In network security group, when we use it, so we use it like you can create some inbound rule, you can create some outbound rule, okay, and it is assigned to the network interface card of your virtual machines and to the subnet. Like in this subnet, what inbound and outbound communication will be allowed or not denied, okay, that you can define using network security group. Here it works for TCP, UDP, and other protocols. You can define some ports and the range of ports as well. Okay, so post network security group, the next thing that we have is an application security group. Now, what is this application security group? In my previous slide here, I have discussed about the network security group. In network security group, you define that from this source of this IP address, okay, this communication will be allowed to this subnet or network interface card or not. Okay, there you have some more option, like the source can be your IP address, source can be your some service tags, source can be some application security group. Means, now come back to this slide again. I want to group some of my application, like I have some web servers, I have some application servers, and like see, this is my all the web servers, I have grouped them. Then these are all my app servers, I have grouped them, made one group, and then these are all my database servers. Then finally, I can create some network security group and define that from this group of application server, I want to allow some inbound rule or I want to allow some outbound rule. Okay, so in those cases, you can use application security group along with your network security group. So it will ease your task. Instead of defining a rule for all the servers, if it is the same set of server, you can combine those servers and then make them in one application security group and then configure the rules. Okay.
So Vipin, if we can, we talked about different security at different layers, right? So we talked about DDoS, we talked about network security group, we talked about application security group. Yes. So would it, where would I use this? Like, at which layer, these different services are used, when we talk about defense of network layer, right? So is that something that, so for example, application security group, right? So application security group, we use it inside the subnet, right? So inside the subnet, I have multiple virtual machines. I club all those virtual machines into application security group. Then we can use network security group at the subnet layer, or we can apply as the NIC card of the virtual machine, right? So this is at the VM level or at the subnet level. Yes. And then we have DDoS. So DDoS is, I think, it's at the VNet level, right? So where you go and enable the DDoS, denial of distributed services, and you deploy at the VNet level. So basically, we have layered, security approach, right? So DDoS is at the VNet level. Then so if an attacker is gonna come and attack us, okay, the first layer of defense is our VNet DDoS. It will stop that attack. If somehow attacker, goes beyond that point, then we have NSG, which is applied at the subnet layer or at the NIC layer to stop that attack further. Right? Yes. So this is what I think you were referring to, layered approach for security. Right?
Yes. So that's why whenever we think about the security, we need to think at all the layers to entirely secure our environment.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Neeraj, for adding the input. Okay, so post this, let's have a quick questionnaire. So there is one question, which Azure service you can use to filter network traffic based on FQDN. Azure Firewall, Network Security Group, Application Security Group, or none. So all the participants can open this URL or they can scan this QR code. Okay. And you have 30 seconds of time. Just try answering this question.
Yeah, so the URL is q.azureeasy.com/1, or you can also scan that QR code, and we are going to paste that in the announcement also. So let me paste that. Okay, so we have posted the URL in the chat. So go ahead and select your answers. See if you could answer the questions. Either you can click on the URL, which is q.azureeasy.com/1, or you can scan the QR code and then try to select the right answer.
We have 30 more seconds.
Yes, so just try. It's a simple question related to the topic that we just discussed. I will show you the response in some time.
10 more seconds.
Yes, so which Azure service you can use to filter network traffic based on FQDN, fully qualified domain name? Azure Firewall, Network Security
Answer
Group.
is available now.
So let me show you the answer and let me see the response as well. So good, most of the people have answered correctly and answers are continuously updating. Many people are still answering the questions. Yes, the correct answer is Azure Firewall that help you filtering your network traffic based on FQDN. Let's continue with the next thing.
So if we can quickly, talk about, right? So Azure Firewall is a service which allows you to control the traffic in and out of your virtual network. Now, with Azure Firewall, usually firewall means you will use IP addresses to filter, right? So you want to allow certain IP addresses, but when you're on internet, you want ability to filter based on the URL, right? Fully qualified domain name. Like, for example, you want to allow traffic to Microsoft.com or portal.azure.com, but not other URL. Now, the benefit of URL or FQDN filtering is that Microsoft or the other vendors will keep changing the IP addresses in the background. You don't have to update your firewall because now you're using the FQDN. So Azure Firewall will, in the background, automatically resolve that URL to the right IP address. So it's pretty important to have this capability. The basic firewalls don't have this capability, which allows URL-based filtering or basically FQDN-based filtering. So that's really something, a key feature in Azure Firewall, that it allows you to use URL or fully qualified domain name in your firewall rules. All right, back to you.
Okay, so further to this question, next we'll be discussing about the Azure Core Identity Services that you can use for identifying the people and providing authenticating resources. Now, when we speak about the identity, in that case, we should first understand the two concepts. One is authentication and second is authorization. Why you need the identity? So we generally need the identity for authentication purpose. Authentication means what? I want to validate that he is the right person who is trying to access anything. So first I need to validate the correct person. Okay, if a user or service is providing a correct username and password, in that case the user is authenticated. We call it this process as a authentication. Once a user is authenticated, further what he can do, what level of access that particular person has, the identity has, that is known as a authorization. For any application at anywhere, the first process is authentication. Once the user is authenticated, then this authorized person has this type of access on this particular application or service, means he can perform this type of task. That is known as an authorization, that he is authorized to perform this particular task, or he is authorized to access this type of services. Okay, so these two things we need to be clear, that what is authentication and what is authorization, because all your identity services will be actually targeting these two things. Microsoft provide you one identity services that we call it as a Azure Active Directory. This is a cloud-based identity service provided by the Microsoft. You can use this for all your Azure related services, like you can provide access to your cloud services that is within your Azure, or in some other is Azure AD as well, like in some different tenant in some different organization. So we can give the access to those people also based on like a guest users. Okay, so it works for internal and external resources. Then Azure Active Directory provides you authentication and authorization. Okay, when we speak about the authentication and authorization for your Azure services, okay, your Office 365 services, and all the SaaS solutions available in Azure Marketplace. This Azure AD also helps you in single sign-ons, means user will sign on, and if he has to access a multiple application, he don't need to have a multiple password for that. Okay, with the single sign-on, he can access the different applications. Azure AD also helps you managing your devices. So, because you can manage the devices which is joined to Azure AD. Then within Azure AD, we can invite the guest user from other Azure AD tenant or the business to business. Okay, we can have a B2B collaboration with the other Azure AD, or we can collaborate with some other public identity provider like Facebook, Google, or other providers, or it can be using the business to consumer, like consumer can directly authenticate from their identity. So all those services are provided in Azure Active Directory. And further, Azure Active Directory also has something called multi-factor authentication. So at the identity level, if
Vipin, if I may interrupt.
Yes, please.
Could you just try to explain when a user or when an organization will use Azure B2B and Azure B2C?
Okay, so organization will use B2B, organization A and organization B, two organizations want to collaborate with each other. They both are using Azure Active Directory and they want to collaborate for some purpose. The people from cross organization want to access the application for the different organizations. In that case, they can collaborate using the B2B. Okay, and identity will be in different organization, but they can access the resource to the cross organizations. Okay, in B2C, okay, in B2C, it's not like any we are collaborating with any organization, any customer, client, any end user. Okay, any user can we can provide, like I have an application and I want that any general user can access this application, okay, with his public identity or his own identity. Okay, it's not like collaboration with the organization, it's like giving leverage to a single user also Okay, like without having identity in our own Azure Active Directory, he can log in with his or her public identity and access the resources.
So what I understood, and obviously it's for the audience also, right? So you're saying B2B is a scenario where one company is trying to collaborate with another company.
Yes.
And both the companies are already in Azure and they're using Azure AD.
Yes.
So it's for collaboration between companies. That's when we use B2B. Okay. And B2C is when a company is trying to reach out to end customer directly, right? Users directly. And for example, they may have some services like some SaaS software that they develop, and they wanted user to use their public identity like Gmail, Facebook, to connect and consume your resources. That's where you will use B2C.
Yes.
Is that understanding correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think it was very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Post that, Azure Active Directory also gives you some other premium features like multi-factor authentications. Okay, so multi-factor authentication is something like stealing password is very easy. People can steal your password, people can guess the password, but when you enable a multi-factor, in that particular case, to access any resource, you have to provide the password plus some secondary authentication. So Azure Active Directory comes with the multi-factor authentication feature also if you opt for a Azure AD premium service. So Azure AD has a basic Azure AD plus a Azure AD premium. So if you opt for Azure AD premium, you will have multi-factor authentication. Okay. Now, how you will provide this MFA? How you will provide, like you are a genuine person who is accessing this particular service. For that MFA, think for 3 parameters, like something the secondary authentication, like first would be your password. Second, it could be some security question, like, okay, along with your password, you tell me the answer for this security question that you have provided earlier. Okay. And something you are like, you have some biometric fingerprints or something, so you can authenticate with that thing, or face recognition, or something you have, like you have some token, some token, you provide this token code. Okay, so password plus some secondary authentication, that gives you a multi-factor authentication service. This comes as a premium license, plus this is Azure AD has different editions. So one is like a premium editions. Second one, it also comes with your Office 365 subscriptions. So if you have Office 365 editions, in that case, it is also a part of that, any enterprise suite. Plus, within your Azure Active Directory, there is one role which is known as a global administrator, which is the highest privilege. Okay, so this MFA is also available with a limited subset for that global administrator users only. Okay, so you can plan for MFA, you can use or whatever service I'm discussing in every different slide. So all these gives you some layer of security. Okay, in your organization, you should think of all those layers, all those services, and try implementing as much as possible. The more secure solutions you will be having, the more secure environment you would be having. So MFA will secure your identity level of security. Then we have some security tools. Okay. Now, when we speak about the security tools, Microsoft gives you one service which is known as the Azure Security Center. It is what? It is service that gives you your threat protection service. This security center is also coming in two variant, two different tier. One is a free, one is a standard. Okay, using this Azure Security Center, okay, you can monitor the threats. Okay, if you go for a standard plan, in that particular case, it can scan your on-premises environment as well as can monitor, and it can help you automatically apply your security policies as well. Okay, but yes, your on-premises monitoring will help you only in the standard cases, standard tier. In free, it is available to the cloud workloads only. Post this, we have next service which is known as Azure Key Vault. So Key Vault is what? Key Vault is something where you can store your some of the secret, like your passwords, your encryption keys. It's just like some organization have some vault, like CyberArk Vault or some other vault solution. So similarly, Microsoft provide you some vault service. In that vault, you can store your secrets. When we speak about the secret, it can be some token, some password, some certificates. When we speak about the key, you can save some encryption keys there. When we speak about the certificate, it can be some SSL certificate, okay, some TLS certificate, or if you have some HSM, like your hardware security module, which is having some secrets, you can store those things as well. Then Microsoft provide you next service for Azure Information Protection. We call it as a AIP. AIP helps you in protecting your document. Okay, you have some Word file for your organization, you have some document, you have some emails, and you want that your organization's people want to have such kind of feature, like, okay, like as a finance manager told you, like, I want to send this document to my team, but I don't want that my team member will further send it to any other people. Okay, so to protect your emails, protect your document, okay, Microsoft provide this AIP service. It's like a rights management service for your documents and email. You can define some label. Label can be defined automatically by some classification. I can define some classifications on my files, like whether a word has accounts, whether a word has finance, whether a word has payment. Okay, so this type of file, this type of email will have this kind of labels automatically attached, and whether this document will be sent further, protected by print, protected by further sending to the other people. Okay, or the other thing is a manual. So manual means any employee in my organization who is having the AIP license, he can access it, he can configure it. So when we say the label can be applied by administrator, so it will be at the organization level, he can define it for any people or group of people. And manual means every end user will define for his own email or for his own document. We can have a mixed kind of approach also, like if we have labels by the administrator and the labels by the end users also, like the employees of my organizations. Post AIP, Microsoft provide you another threat protection service, that is your Azure ATP, Advanced Threat Protections, that detects and investigate your advanced threats. And for ATP, to use this service, you have to go for a dedicated portal, that is the ATP portal. Microsoft gives you this portal, and Microsoft provide you one ATP sensor, which is installed in your domain controller. So when it is installed in your domain controller, okay, it helps you identifying and detecting the advanced threat. So generally it helps you for your domain control, like you have some admin user and there is any threat for those domain admin credentials or enterprise admin credentials. In those situations, this ATP will help you. So then we have a next section, that is Azure Governance and Methodology. In Azure Governance, the first service we have is the Azure Policy. So what is policy? This policy is a high level of process, high level of definition that I want to implement in my organization. I want that in my organization, all my admin people who are my network administrator, who are my storage administrator, who is taking care of my cloud services. Okay, I want to define some set of process that all my administrators should do. Like they should be able to create all the resources in one specific region, or they should be able to create all the cloud services with some specific set of configuration as per my company's definition. So in this Azure policy, what we do, we define some definition and then assign it at some scope. Like I want to define that all the virtual machines should be deployed in one specific region only. All the virtual machine or any resource should have some tagging. Okay, so anything that you want, that resource should be configured in such way only. Okay, that even the administrator has to follow that. So that we call it as a definition. We create a definition and then we apply it. So we can apply it to a level at the management group level, which is a top level hierarchy, subscription level, or some resource group level. We can combine this policy as well. Like I have created 10 different definition and then grouped it. So when you group the definition, we call it as an initiative definition. Okay, so in initiative definition, it is a bundle of definition with groups of multiple individual definitions. If I assign one initiative definition to one group, one resource group, all those set of definition will be applied there. Okay, so you can define that definitions as well. This policy also helps you. Let's suppose you have not used this Azure policy earlier, and now onward you want to use this Azure policy. So it can scan and evaluate your environment, and then you can remediate that as well. It helps you on those evaluation as well. Post policy. Next thing what you can do, you can use your role-based access control. Like based on the role, you can define that, okay, this person has this kind of job. He is working on this type of activity. So he would be managing network. He would be managing my billing. He would be managing my storage. He would be a database administrator. He would be a project lead. So based on their respective role, you can define that you would be having this level of access. That we call it as a role-based access control. There are many roles. There are many built-in roles in Azure. We call it as a built-in role, and you can add some custom roles as well. So some of the common built-in roles are like a honor. Honor means if I give someone as honor access, he would be having the access to manage that respective service. Plus, he would be having access to delegate the access privilege to other people as well. When we give the contributor access, in contributor access, he has all the access, but he can't give the access to any other people. He can't further delegate the access to other people. In reader, he will be having a reader access to that particular service. This RBAC also has a hierarchy. So if you see here in this right hand side, so the top, you can use this RBAC at the management group level, or at subscription level, or resource group level, and or at the resource level. So wherever you are applying it, it will inherit downward. Then post RBAC, we have something called resource lock. How this resource lock will help you? What type of security this resource lock will give you? So resource lock will help you. I have some resource in my environment. I have one database server. I have one web server in my environment. I have one virtual machine in my cloud. Okay. So Microsoft provide you two types of lock, two types of resource lock that you can use in resource. One is a delete. So if you use this delete lock, in that case, what will happen? The people who have access to that resource, when I say the people, means the admin people who are managing that service. Okay, they can read that, they can modify that resource, but he won't be able to delete it. Okay, and if I enable a lock and set it as a read only, in that particular case, what will happen? My admin will have a read access, but he can't delete or update that. Okay, so these are the two types of resource lock that you can use at the resource level. Post this, Microsoft provides you something called as a blueprint. Okay. Now how this blueprint will help you. So blueprint will help you when you have to do some large level of deployment, where large scale of deployment. Your task is to deploy multiple things regularly. Okay. So in this, like I have to define different types of role. I have to define multiple policies. I have to deploy many resources. Okay. In those cases, this Azure blueprint will help you. Okay, so you can create the blueprint, and in one go you can deploy multiple things in one set. Okay, so that is a Azure blueprint. When you have a repetitive kind of task that you have to do deployment with all these kind of artifacts, we call here artifacts means the multiple role assignment, multiple policy assignment. We already discussed the role assignment and policy assignment in previous slides. And Azure Resource Manager template, ARM templates or Azure Resource Manager template, you generally use for your deploying your resources. It's a one-time deployment, okay, or the resource groups, okay. Then further this blueprint, the other level where you can secure is your subscription level. In subscription level, what is this subscription? So subscription is generally your billing boundary. It also is your access control, like your organization within your Azure AD tenant, you can have multiple subscriptions, and that subscription can be for, okay, this subscription is for this department, this subscription is for this particular purpose, for production purpose or for development purpose. Okay, you can segregate anything. So subscription also helps you governing and securing your environment at 3 levels. One is your billing, one is your access control, like some set of people or some set of group of people or department has access to this particular subscription, and you can also and subscriptions also has a limit. Okay, so you can define the limits as well. Okay, like this subscription has this limit, this subscription has this kind of limits. Post that, Microsoft has some monitoring and reporting related service. When we speak about the monitoring, okay, now for monitoring and reporting, the first thing that Microsoft gives you is a tagging. Tagging is one of the most important things that will help you for generating reports. So when you create some service in cloud, like suppose you have created some databases, you have created some virtual machines, you have created some web servers there, web applications there, okay, and many different services. So I have created a few servers for one specific department or for few specific purpose, like for this department A or department B, or for production purpose or for this type of services. So you can tag your resources, you can, it's just like a label, just name tags, okay. And whenever you use this tag, this will further help you generate some resource, okay, generate some resource reporting, okay. I can find out all the resource which have this kind of tag, okay. I can see all those things, like it can be department, environment, honor, or any other thing that you define there. So it's always suggested to use the tags that helps you further. Post that, Microsoft have one monitoring service which is known as Azure Monitor. Now, how this Azure Monitor will help you? This Azure Monitor is it can collect the data from your applications, from your Azure resources, okay, and it can check the performance and functionality of your services, okay. So you can use Azure Monitor to see the functionality, to see the performance of your Azure service, your Azure application, your Azure subscription, guest operating systems, okay. There is 2 settings. One is known as a diagnostic setting. One is a, within this diagnostic setting, we have one thing called as the activity log. So activity log is what? Activity log starts creating when you create any resource or modify any resource. So who has done that? what modification is done on any specific resource. So that you can see on the activity log, that what activity is done on this particular resource. Then for diagnostic purpose, you can use the matrix. You can set the matrix, like you can set some threshold for some CPU, memory, or any parameter, and based on that, you can monitor your respective service. Post monitor, Microsoft have one service which is known as Azure Service Health. So Azure Service Health is what Microsoft has one portal, and there are chances like Microsoft have some outage in their some data center. It can be in any specific region. It can be for any specific service. Okay. Now, if you want to see whether Microsoft is working properly in my organization or not, for my region where I am hosting my application, I'm hosting my services on Azure Cloud in East US, West US, Australia, or any specific region. So if I'm facing any challenge for my service, I can go and check this Azure Service Health and see whether there is any outage or not. Okay. So this service health is actually a combination of some services. The one is Azure Status. So Azure Status tells you the outage information for all the Azure services. Okay, there is a portal for this. You can go on this Azure Service Health portal, and there you can select the location, region, service, and see whether this is working properly right now, or there is any ongoing issue at that particular moment of time. Then the second component for this service health is the Azure Service Health. When we say the Azure Service Health, this is a personalized view. Okay, like I'm not using all the services in Azure. In my organization, I have not deployed my services in all the Microsoft Azure data center. My organization might be using few of the Azure services in few of the Azure regions. Okay, so if I want to customize that, I want to see a customized, personalized view for my organization in such a way, like if my organization have deployed the services in US region, okay, or Australia region, or any specific region, I want to see the health view, health status of those regions only. Okay, so in that case, you can go for Azure Service Health. Then Microsoft has a third component within this Azure Service Health that we call it as a resource health. So resource health is what I don't want to see, like if I'm using an India region or if I'm using a US region, I don't want to see that whether all the services in India region are working or not, whether all the services in US region are working or not. I just want to know that I'm using 5 services and I want to see this in a health information for all those 5 services only. Okay, so in those cases, I will be using this third option, that is a Azure Resource Health. So that will tell you a health information for your individual cloud services, individual cloud resources. Okay, so with the combination of all these 3, we call it as a Azure Service Health. And you always get an up-to-date information. So whenever they have any outage, they keep updating this in a frequency of 1 minute generally. Post that, the next thing is that when we speak about the monitoring, okay, so in monitoring, what happens in monitoring, your monitoring are generally categorized in 4 parameters. One is analyze. Okay, that if you want to analyze something, okay, so to analyze what you can use, I want to analyze some of my application. Okay, I want to see that whether my application is working properly or not. Is there any issues within my application? I want to see the insight of my applications. Okay, so Microsoft provide you for your monitoring application and services. Microsoft provide few different types of service, and those services are categorized in these 4 parameters. So when we say the 4 parameters, the first one is the analyze. To analyze, you can use the application insight. So application insight is to see the insight of any applications installed in Azure. Okay, then you can use your Azure Monitor for containers or Azure Monitor for your virtual machines. Okay, These are the specific monitoring services for your VM and containers. Then why we want to analyze, why we want to monitor? Okay, so you can set some kind of response from the services. I want that I want to have some kind of alert. So you can define some alert like when your service is working, not working. Define some utilization, okay, threshold. So on the basis of that, you want to do some response, like some auto scale or some other kind of response. For that, you can use alert and auto scale. If you want to visualize, okay, in that case, for visualization purpose, Microsoft provides some services like dashboards. You can use the dashboard, views, or Power BI, and Microsoft Azure Monitor. You can integrate it with some other systems as well. So it can be used as a integrate. Further monitoring applications. Let's have one more quick questions based on the things that we discussed till now. So the second question for today is, which tool you can use to protect your organization document and email? Okay, there are 4 options. The question URL is https://q.azureeasy.com/2. You can either open this URL or you can scan this QR code from your mobile. Okay, this question will be opened. You have 30 seconds of time. So in the next 30 seconds, I will show you the response. Which tool?
It will be for 1 minute, Vipin. It will be for 1 minute.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So you can scan the QR code, or you can also go to q.azureeasy.com/2. That's the second number question. So which tool you can use to protect organization documents and emails? You have 4 choices: Azure Information Protection, Azure Advanced Threat Protection, Azure Security Centers, or none of the above. See if
15 more seconds. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I see a lot of questions coming in through the Q&A session. Some people have asked for the questions that we are having.
We have the response result now. Yeah.
Sure. All right, let's see what's the answer.
So let's see the answer for this question. Correct. So the correct answer is Azure Information Protection. And yes, a lot of people have answered correctly. So Azure Information Protection helps you protecting your documents and email. Azure Threat Protection is the service which helps you for your threats, okay, not for protecting your document. Security Center is also for protecting your threats, okay, not for your information protections. Let's come back to the slide. Okay, so moving ahead, our next section is privacy, compliance, and data protection standards. So now within this particular section, we will see that what different standard Microsoft is following. Okay, these all are a documentary things. So Microsoft is compliant in all the regions, for all the different kind of industries, for all the different kind of locations globally. Based on your region, based on your line of business, if you want to see that if my organization is doing a business in healthcare, my organization is doing a business in insurance or banking, okay, or some other service industry, okay, I'm doing business in one specific country or one specific geography, okay, my organization has such kind of compliance requirement. So if you want to see, if you want to be ensure like whether Microsoft is fulfilling these kind of compliance requirement or not. So this is one chart, and Microsoft has published all these things publicly. So you can go and check on their compliance portal and see, like here, these are all the categorizations. Like on these regional service, they are following these standards based on industry. Like let's assume if it is a health, so they are following HIPAA or not. Okay, if it is some other like global standards like ISO, whether they are following ISO standards or not. So yes, they are following almost all kind of compliance requirement. So before you choose the Microsoft services, and if you want to be assured, you can go and check the current status of their compliance. Then Microsoft has one public URL that we call it as a microsoft.com/privacy statement. If anyone want to know that what Microsoft is doing with the personal data, okay, so on this URL you can see, you can read and check that what is the personal data in the reference of Microsoft. So Microsoft will explain that from their reference, these are the data that they understand, that they assume it as a personal data. Then what they are doing it with that particular data, what kind of personal data they are taking from the customer and what they are doing it. Okay, so you will see that, plus how they are processing your personal data. You will get to know all this information on this microsoft.com/privacy statement. Then moving forward, Microsoft has one link, we call it as a Trust Center. In this Trust Center, the link is the microsoft.com/trust center. This Trust Center tells you all the trust, privacy, compliance relating policies available from Microsoft, and some recommended resources, recommended trust solutions for your respective service, respective applications. For different roles in any organization, you should follow these things. Okay, so all the documentations, all the informations are provided on this Trust Center. Then Microsoft has a Trust Portal. So Trust Portal is again a companion feature for the Trust Center that helps you for auditing your reports for your cloud services, that helps you manage your compliance for different compliance requirement, different regulation. You can see all the documents available, okay, to protect your data. So all informations are available on that Trust Center. Post that, Microsoft has something called Compliance Manager. So Compliance Manager is what this is, again a workflow based feature. So there you have some dashboard. You can see the dashboard, and then you can see, it will help you to creating a dashboard and having a look and assign some regulatory information, some compliance information for your respective organizations. Post this compliance, the next section that we have is planning and managing cost. This is again one of the most important thing within Azure. Now, when we speak about planning and managing cost, so first thing is like how you are going to buy the services from the Microsoft. If you want to use the Microsoft product, specifically the Microsoft Azure related services, cloud related services. So there are three options for that how you can buy. One is an enterprise option. We call it as an enterprise agreement. Your organization will be having an agreement with the Microsoft, and in this agreement, you generally pay annually. So customer has to pay with the annual billing. The pricing will also be customized. So for a same service, the different organization may have some different negotiation. Okay, so they might, like one organization is taking 100,000 crores rupees for business, and the other organization is taking some different amount of business. Okay, so based on, and one organization is asking for a 1 year of business, another organization is asking a business for 5 year or 10 year. Okay, so based on the terms, based on the agreement, it can have some negotiated amount. Okay, so one is the enterprise agreement. Second is your web direct. So web direct is what? For some small organizations, some medium scale businesses, or some individuals, they can directly go and buy the Azure services from the Azure portal. Okay, in this case, what happened? They will be having the public pricing, the general pricing available. Okay, and the billing will be monthly. So they will have the bill at the end of the month and the customer has to pay. This is known as the web direct. The third option that you have to buy the Azure services is a cloud solution provider. We call it as a CSP. So CSP or cloud service provider is a what? Cloud solution provider is a what? They are Microsoft partner. They are a reselling partner. So instead of buying a services directly from the Microsoft, you buy the services, Azure services from those CSP, Microsoft Cloud Solution Provider. And when you buy the services from them, in that case, what happened? They might give you the services at some different cost. Okay, and you have to pay your bills through CSP. You don't pay to the Microsoft directly. This is as per the agreement between you and the CSP. So these are the three options, three ways how you can buy the Azure services. Post that, let's assume you have purchased the services from any of those options using Azure agreement, enterprise agreement, or web direct or CSP. The next thing is there are some factors which will affect your cost for your ongoing services. I purchased the services, I'm using those services. Now, when I'm using those services, there would be some factors that will affect my regular billing, my regular expenditures. Now, so what are the factors that affect my cost? So the factor that affect your cost is the resource type. What type of resource you are using? You are using IaaS service, you are using virtual machine, you are using, I have to deploy some web servers, so I'm deploying web application in PaaS as an app service, or I'm deploying services in my virtual machine. Okay, so there are different types of services. So what type of resource you are using, that has a different costing. Which service you are using in which location. So same service may have a different cost. So the same services, the cost of the service in US, cost of the service in Australia, cost of service in India or other regions may have different pricing. Okay, so if it is not very much required, if it is not having any compliance kind of requirement or other issues, you can choose that, okay, I can go and choose the services in this region and location, so I can save the cost. But yes, that will depend on the other factor as well, your company's requirement as well, business requirement as well. Then how Microsoft is going to charge you. Okay, so Microsoft is going to charge you based on some uses, and those uses are calculated, measured on some uses meter. So just like we use some of the things, we use our mobile phone, we have some billing meters, uses meter. Okay, so Microsoft has some uses meter. One is compute hours. So compute hours is generally which is for computation for your CPU, memory, uses for your compute services. Okay, then IP address hours. So if you are using some IP address there, some public IP address there, static IP address there. So the IP address has some different pricings, and those are calculated based on hours. Then if you're using some storage, okay, in that case, how your data is transiting, how much data is the data transfer in and out to the cloud, that has some different uses meter. Okay, then you may have some other standard disk, standard managed disk. Okay, there would be some disk operation. So when we say the disk operation, what type of disk operation we have? We are reading the data, we are writing the data. Okay, so there might be some read or write operations. Okay, so that read or write operations also counted as a uses. Okay, that also charge. So based on all these uses meter, okay, finally you have your total billing. So you can think about those things and comparatively plan for your costing. Now think about, now I have decided that I'm going to use some of the services in Azure. But before I directly choose that service, I want to have an estimate. Okay, if I buy 10 virtual machines on Azure, how much I have to pay? Microsoft gives you one tool that is a browser-based tool. We call it as a pricing calculator. You can go on azure.microsoft.com/pricing calculator. Okay, and there you specify that which service you want to use. Okay, I want to use virtual machine, I want to use database, I want to use this service in this region. You specify all these regions. Okay, I want to use this operating system, I would be using this service for this much amount of time. Based on that, Microsoft will give you an estimated value, and this is always an estimated value which can vary based on your agreement with the Microsoft, how you are going to purchase it. Going to purchase it using enterprise agreement or with the web direct or from the CSP. Okay, so this is just an idea, just an estimate which can vary based on your actual purchase. But yes, you would be definitely having some idea, some estimate of your product. Then for pricing, Microsoft gives you some another tool that is known as a TCO, or we call it as a total cost of ownership. Now, total cost of ownership calculator or TCO calculator, why we should use for this particular thing? So in the previous slide, I told you pricing calculator will help you for estimation, for a future estimation. TCO or TCO calculator will help you here. What I do, I say Microsoft, in my organization, I'm having 5 machines, 50 storage. Okay, I specify my existing infrastructure to the Microsoft. Okay, like I'm using this much servers in my organization, I'm using this much storage, this much networking devices, this much other services in my organization. If I use the same service in the cloud, how much I have to pay? Okay, so Microsoft will tell you a comparison that if you use the same service in the cloud, okay, you will save this much amount over the next 5 years, 3 years, or 2 years. Okay, so this is a comparison tool that helps you compare your existing cost and the cost that you can save in the cloud if you move to the cloud, if you use the same service on the cloud. So TCO help you comparing your existing infrastructure, comparing your existing on-premise infrastructure to your Azure services if you move to the cloud. Post this, how you can minimize the cost. Okay, I explained you there are some factors that affect your cost. So Microsoft gives you some options. Using that, you can minimize your cost. Microsoft has some cost analysis, so you can analyze your cost using the cost management. Microsoft has one tool that we call it as Azure Advisor. Azure Advisor gives you some recommendations based on some parameter, like based on cost, based on security. Okay, so using this advisor, you can see, okay, Microsoft will tell you, okay, that you are using the service and paying this much, but your resource is underutilized. Okay, or your resource is overutilized. So you can, if your resource is underutilized, you can downgrade the size, you can choose some other service comparatively. You can use a spending limit. You can define the limit in your subscriptions. Then Microsoft has some option which is known as the reservations. So if I'm using virtual machine and that is running 24/7 throughout the year, okay, if I tell Microsoft that reserve this machine for me, this is known as a reservation. If you reserve some of the services, these are reservations are available for few of the things only, not for all services, like for virtual machines. So in these cases, what will happen, Microsoft will give you a very good discount. So on an average, generally it's around 72%. It can vary a little bit based on the services. So you will save a huge amount. If you know that this is my production workload and it will be running 24/7, so better to go for a reservation. Then Microsoft, sometime they give some kind of offers. Okay, so you can check for their offers, and if you think that after choosing this offer, I may some cost, like you have some test environment, you have some research environment. For those environment, you can go and choose these offers and opt for the services from those offers. then you can apply the tax and identify that, okay, this department has this much costing, this department has this much costing, okay, and have the accountability to that respective owners. Suppose that Microsoft has some service which is known as Azure Cost Management. You can use this for reporting and for budget purpose, okay, for alerting, recommendations. You can see the pricing, okay. This is a cost management tool. Like you can categorize your data, your services based on the department, environment, and services using this cost management. So now we have the final question for today, question number 3. This question number 3 is, which tool you can use to estimate cost of your Azure services? Which tool you can use to estimate the cost of your Azure services? You can again open this URL in the web browser, or you can scan the QR code. The URL is q.azureeasy.com/3. Option number 1, pricing calculator. Option number 2, total cost of ownership. Option number 3, Azure cost management. And
so you can go to https://q.azureeasy.com/3 and vote your answers there, and we will publish the answers shortly in another 30 seconds.
suppose this question, we'll be having one break and then we have some demo session. We'll have a visibility for some of the services that we understood today.
Okay, we have the results now.
Okay, so let me show you the result now for question number 3. Good, so I can see that most of the people have answered correctly. Yes, you can use Azure pricing calculator for estimation if you want to estimate your cost. The other answer, like total cost of ownership. So total cost of ownership doesn't give you the estimate. It simply gives you the comparison. Like I will say in my company, I'm using these services. I have 100 server. If I use 100 server in Azure, how much I have to pay? So what will happen? Microsoft will simply compare. Okay, you are using 100 server in your organization. If you use the 100 server in the Azure, you will save on your electricity, you will save your cost on your data center expenses. Okay, you will save other things. So totally the comparison of your existing cost and the cost in the Azure will be this one. So that is a comparison cost. Okay, that will not tell you that how much you are going to have the estimated cost, estimated price for your services. Okay, thank you everyone for answering this question. So now we will be having a 10 minutes of break. So Q&A, in the Q&A window, if anyone has any questions, you can write your questions. We will answer the questions during the Q&A time. And we have a break for 10 minutes. Post 10 minutes, Ramurthy will help you on understanding some of the demo. He will show you the demo. Okay, so just have a 10 minute of break now.
Okay, yeah, and during the break, we will keep the Q&A option open. So any question you have, you can put in there, and our speakers and experts will try to answer those questions. The session back for the demo. I'm closing the Q&A now. If we are not able to answer a question, then I will request you all to join our Telegram group where you can post your questions, and also you can keep updated with the recording details and the slide details and all those things we post there. We also send emails to the registered participants, and we share on LinkedIn and all other mediums as well. But if you go ahead and join our Telegram group, there you can also have a interactive question and answers with fellow members, having more than 7,000 members across the globe. So yeah. Okay, so Ram, you there?
Yeah, Ashish, I'm here. Okay, so
you can go ahead and share your desktop, and then you can start. Yeah.
Sure, Ashish. Yeah, let me share my screen and just confirm if you are able to see. Give a minute. Yeah, I have just shared my screen. Are you able to see, Ashish?
Yes, it's visible now. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me bring the presentations. Okay. Sorry, some challenges is there. Just 1 minute. One minute. Okay, so yeah. Something is happening. Okay, let me go through this earlier. I have some difficulty in presenting it, so I'm going through this this mode only. Okay. Yeah. So hi all. Welcome back. I hope you have enjoyed your short break. So as Bipin explained, all these security policies like Azure policy and all governance policy, which you can implement as a part of Azure deployment. So I have just picked few of them, and I'm going to demonstrate on those policies and like RBAC role. So basically, what we will do, we will just create a policy as a part of first demo. Like we will create a policy and we will implement that policy on one of the resource group or at subscriptions level. And then we will try to provision some service there, and we will see how after applying the policy, how behavior is getting changed with deploying any of the resource, right? In second lab or second demo, where we have a managed access with RBAC, we will see the difference between assigning a RBAC on subscriptions level or assigning a role at Azure Active Directory level. So how what is the difference you will get, you will notice through when you will walk through on this lab. Then I will go through some pricing calculators, where we will estimate the cost of one of the samples solutions, where we will take some virtual machines and related components, also some database, all those things, and we will just show how how that you can use the pricing calculator to estimate your cost when you are planning for going to the Azure or moving to the cloud, right? Then part of the fourth lab, we will be walking through the TCO calculators. So as Bipin has told, TCO calculator is mainly for the compare the cost between your on-premises infrastructures and your cloud infrastructures, right? So in your on-premises infrastructures, you have a different kind of cost like CapEx and OpEx, and you will be going to put those value in the TCO calculators, and then analytics, which is built behind the TCO calculators, going to compare that with the Azure pricings, and it is going to give you a result in the form of PDF or Excels, and you can take that to with your teams, and you can analyze how much you are going to save when you are moving to the cloud. Then we are going to have some other labs as well, like Azure preview features. We have Azure had two different type of services. One is general available services, and some services which Azure Microsoft keep working, but they are in final release. They released those are in advance before making them as a general available. So those services are called preview services or preview features. And we will see that also, like how you can look for any of the preview features and how you can provision or how you can request for the services which is in part of the preview, right? Then we have a last lab which is based on the like Azure advisors. So Azure advisor is you can consider Azure advisor as your consultant who is giving you a best practice on the Azures, right? So like if you have already implemented some solutions on Azure and you want to analyze whether it is on it have the implemented with best practice, is following all those category which is part of the Azure advisor or not. So what Azure advisors do is use the configurations, it's use the telemetry data, it's use your usage patterns, and based on that, it's give some advice. Okay. So yeah, let's move with the first demo where we are going to create a look around the Azure policy and implement some policy and see what are the all options we have available. Okay, let me bring my Azure browser here. Yeah. So yeah, to demonstrate that that particular Azure policy things, what I have done, I have created a 2 resource group here, like AzureTalk resource group 1 and resource group 2. And we will be going to create a sample, or we can create a Azure policy, and then we will apply on one of that policy on one of this resource group, and we will see the difference. So take example, if right now, if you go to a resource group 1 and look for the policies, you will see there is no policy applied on this resource group at this moment, right? So, and if you try to create any of the service here, it will not it is not going to stop you because there is no policies applied, and it is not going to enforce you to maintain the policies or something which you will define as a part of the definitions, right? So take example, I'm going to create here a virtual group, virtual network. Okay. And I'm creating this virtual network in a resource group 1, and I'm giving the name for this. And let's select the region like East US. And it's not the demonstrations about the virtual network, so I'm just keeping this all value as default and moving to the tag. And also I'm not going to apply any tag here. And if I say review, right, it is going to validate all those parameters which I have selected and where they are correct or they are compliant or not. And if based on the validations, based on the checks, it's passed, like validations is passed, and now I can say create. While this, yeah, so your resource is created here, you can see the deployment is underway and it's not giving any kind of error, or yeah, it's getting created successfully. While it's creating, the Edge Bipin tool, like the policies we can apply at multiple levels. Like we can apply at management group, we can apply at resource group, we can apply at subscriptions levels, right? So as I saw. As I presented here, like if you see this is from where you can deploy, you can apply a policy at a resource group level. But if I want to apply the same policy at management group level, which is the top level in hierarchy, right? So I have to look for the management group. Yeah, so management group, and as you can see, I have a 2 management group here, right? So click on any of the management group and sorry, it's taking. Yeah, so here you can go and you can apply the policies from management group as well. And as of now, I don't have any policies applied at management group, right? And similar things you can do at subscriptions level as well. So let's move to the policy and try to apply one of the policy on resource group 2. Okay. So this is a resource group 2, and I'm going in policies. And so once you will go in policy tab, you will have 2 types of policies. Like one is assigned policy and assigned initiative, right? So the policy is the single policy which have a single declarative files, which have a single definitions, right? Where the initiative is the like group of the policy, and where you can have a multiple policy group together, and it will save you to your time, your effort in applying policy multiple times or selecting one by one all the policies. So what you can do for your environment, like if you need to apply multiple types of policy, you can group them together, and that's nothing is called like initiative, right? How policies looks like if you go in definitions, right, you can find here like there are a lot of policies available here. So these all policies are, you can see the type as a built-in. That means this is all, it is already provided as a part of Azure out of box, right? And here you can say these are the initiative, and you can see how many policies are part of this initiative. And if you scroll down, these are actually policy, and you can find it from the definitions type, and these are the policies. So these are the single policies, right? If you sort by the type, you will see like custom policies also. So if you are able to write, you can write your own definitions in the form of JSON, and you can click add, and here you can give the lock name, and this is a two type of lock which Bipin has explained, like read only or delete. So read only is very much similar to the read only RBAC policies, RBAC rules. It will just give you the privilege, like you can read all those resource part of this resource group, but you can't modify, you can't create any resource here. But while delete will give you privilege, like you can create a new resource, you can modify those resource, you can update those resource, but you can't delete it. Okay. Yeah, so moving to the another talking about the RBACs. Okay, so basically in Azure, you have a role assignment at two places. Like either you can assign the role at Active Directory level, or you can assign a role at subscriptions level or resource level, right? So both the assignments have different scope. Assigning any roles at Active Directory levels is giving you the privilege to manage the Active Directory objects. Take example, if you come to roles here, and if you are assigning any of these roles from here, this is going to privilege to manage Active Directory objects, registrations of that app, and all those things. Similar, you must hear about the well-known role called Global Administrator, right? So if you are assigning a user's Global Administrator roles, that going to give you a top level privilege in Active Directory, but that not going to give you the permissions or privilege to create a resource, right? To create a resource in subscriptions or at any resource group, you need to assign a separate permissions on particular resource level, right? So let's move and try to assign a users have the permissions on any of the resource group and or at a subscription level, and see whether that user is able to do anything in part of that resource group or not. Okay, so I'm going to take the same examples, like let me take the resource group 2, and yeah, for time being, I'm just removing the policies because I need to use this group. Yeah. Okay. So I have removed the policies on this particular resource group, and I'm going to assign take these two resource group now. Resource group 1, where I'm going to assign a permissions for one of the users, read only, and I will take the another resource group where I will assign the permissions for that users to contributors or some rights which he can do, right, or what he can do. So take go to resource group 1, go to IAM, and go to role assignment here, right? So or you can click on add role from here, so anything, whichever is the, so what role you want to give. So I'm going to assign a reader role on this particular resource group, and users is let me yeah, so I'm going to assign to user called lab users at cloudeg.in, and these users I have assigned a reader permissions on a resource group AzureTalk RG01, and save it. If you are not sure like what permissions you have on particular resource or particular resource group, you can check it from here. Like I have just assigned some permissions to one of the users, right? And if you click that user here and just go through this, it will tell you like what roles are assigned or what is the permissions you have. Okay, now I'm going to take resource group 2. Okay, and going to IAM. And here I'm giving you a different rules, like I'm giving a contributor rights to that user. So what contributor rights is going to do, it will allow you to create all the resource and everything's part of this resource group, but it will not allow you to manage the permissions kind of things. Okay, so yeah, I've selected the same users, right? And go save. Okay, now let me let me log into the separate window and log in with that particular user, right? Okay, so you see this user is now logged in on the portal, and if you go to resource group, he have just a minute, it's just a matter of refresh. Okay, let's create and we'll see what if he's facing any challenges here or what. So yeah, now I'm taking the AzureTalk RG01 and I'm trying to create a resource here, right? So take a virtual machines or the simple one again. I'll take example, yeah, virtual machines one, yeah. So I'm going to compute virtual machines, and this is RG01. Somehow it is a listing here, but it's just a matter of the refresh of the browser. Okay, so RG01 I'm taking here, 01 VM. I'm giving a name. I just take the any region where you want to deploy, which is near to your user base and some users, right? And yeah, let's give the password or SSH only, no issue, because our yeah use. Okay, now let's move on to the default because we want to just see like whether this user is able to create a resource in RG group 1 or not. Let me off this. Yeah. Now you see, as soon as validations start, it's giving some error. And if you look for this error, what it's saying, like the client lab user at cloud EG with object, this one does not have authorizations on the perform actions as part of this resource group, right? And this is what permissions we had given to user. We have given a users read-only permissions. What means he can see all the resource inside this resource group. He can click here, he can go through the properties and everything, but he can't modify, he can't create, or he can't change anything here. Okay, now moving to this, we are taking the same scenario and creating the resource in the resource group 2, right? Okay. So I'm going to select now resource group 2 and going to fill this information again for the creations of virtual machines. Okay, and keep all rest of the informations as a default, right? Because I are not going, yeah. Next, tags and review and create, and just wait for the validations. Here you see these validations are fast, right? Because these users on this particular resource group, you have a permissions that users have a permissions to create the resource. You have a contributor rights, and as soon as I click on create, the resource deployment is started now. So how now you have understand like how RBAC is going to help you in fine-grain your permissions, privilege on resource group level. Similar things you can apply at subscriptions level or yeah, based on your requirement or how based on the solutions how you want to. Okay. Moving back to another lab, which is using a pricing calculators for the estimations of the cost. Okay. Let me bring the, so Pricing calculators, to open a pricing calculators, as it is a web-based, like URL-based online tools available with Microsoft, and you just have to put this URL on any of the web browser like azure.microsoft.com/ENIN and then pricing calculator. Once you will browse this, you will come here, and in this view, what you are going to do, like you are going to estimate a cost for your solutions which you want to deploy on the Azure. Take example, I'm going to deploy virtual machines. I will take the virtual machines from here. Or if you have a complex solutions where you are going to use the compute, you are going to use networking, storage, and a lot of other features. So based on that, you can select all those options, components from the services listed here, services category listed here, right? For these demonstrations, I'm going to use a compute like virtual machines, and I will select a virtual machines here. Once you click on this, it is going to save in your view where you will be changing the some value, some parameters, and based on that, you are going to estimate your cost. Some more options are available here, like you have an example scenarios, like where we have some blueprints available, right? And using this, you can choose these blueprints if your applications are matching to these blueprint, and you can add this to the estimations. And also you can customize, like if it is not matching, it is just a sample, and if you want to have more virtual machines in your blueprint, or you want to have more like containers or pods, that based on that you can modify these blueprints in part of your estimations, right? Once you done with your estimations, you can save it for the future use. Like suppose I have done the estimations and I'm not going to use it right now, maybe tomorrow during meetings or during our board meetings or some meetings with our CEO, CTO, I'm going to show this. So I can save it here, or you can export your estimations in the form of Excel or PDF as well, okay? So let's move on to products. And I have already selected a virtual machines, and it is showing in my view here. The very first thing, you have to select the region. Your price varies based on the regions what you have selected. So if you have selected the US East, your price will come something different. If you have selected some different regions, maybe take example Central India, your price is getting changed, right? So you have to be very careful, and you have to select the regions which is nearby your user base, like where your user is going to connect. Then the another factor is like operating system. Price change based on the operating system selections as well. So if you see the Windows, I have selected a Central India, and Windows, the price is showing me $143. But if I select Linux, it is going to just $76, right? Let's move with the Windows for now. And then like if you want to have any solutions already deployed part of that Windows image, or you just want a OS only, or you want a like applications like BizTalk or SQL Server should already be installed, and based on that licensing cost, all those things, it will increase again, okay? So for now, I'm taking it find SQL servers, and then we have a tires. Tires is basically talks about the their instance standards, right? So standards type standard. So here I'm saying the standard, and then you have to select the what type of instance you want. What is a CPU memory, like CPU and RAM you want for your instance, right? And based on that, you will select the type. And when you are calculating, basically you should be matching it to your application's requirement. Okay. So I'm taking one higher for just I'm doing the estimations. I'm just taking one instance type which have the higher numbers of CPU and RAMs, right? Then how many virtual machines you want, right? And how like what is your utilizations? Do you want to use for the full months, or you want to use for the some specific like few hours? Based on that, you can select here. Like I want a full month, and 1 month equal to is calculated as a 730 hours, right? What since I have selected a machines like server with SQL servers, is asking me the license for the SQL servers, right? And what kind of there is a 3 type of license available for the SQL servers, like enterprise, standard, and BEV. And you have to choose your license type for the SQL servers based on your usage. And once you have this all, then there is a as Bipin has explained, we have a 2 type of billing also, like pay as you use, or you can go for the reserved instance, right? So in case of reserved instance, you are going to give a commitment to Microsoft I'm going to use this resource for n numbers of years, and that n numbers is either it's a 1 year or 3 years, right? And if you select this, you are going to give a cheaper price for your virtual machines, right? So if you see right now, its total cost is about $11,000, right? And if I select it for like 1 year as a reserve, so it's saying 1 year as a reserve is not available for your instance selections, or 3 years as a reserve is also not available for the instance selection. So again, this 1 year or 3 years reservations is depend on the what instance you have selected, right? So let me change it to something different, and let's see if it's give me options. Okay, so let's choose this one, and here you see like 411, and here it's giving, yeah. So now I've changed it to like Windows, and I want operating system only, and I have changed the instance type like DS12, okay, and which normal monthly cost in pay as you go model, it's cost me about 411 bucks, right? But if I change to 1 year, its price is changing, right? You can see like average per month I'm getting lesser price, and that is about 36% discount. If I'm going for the 3 years, it is going to be more discounted rate, right? So that's something you are getting as a benefit when you are giving a commitment to Microsoft, like I'm going to use for the 1 year or 3 years this, okay? Then you have on Windows, you have a two type of license. Like one is where you are going to get a license from the Microsoft itself during the deployment. The another is the Azure hybrid benefit, where you bringing your license or bringing your on-premises infrastructures, and you have the Microsoft license assurance with. You have a license assurance agreement with Microsoft, right? So in that case, you are going to use the Azure hybrid benefit. Then you have to select some disk for your virtual machines, right? And this is actually like additional disk you want for the data and other things, right? So I'm selecting some disk type, like I want a 1 TB of data disk, and how many disk I want, right? And then we have a net storage transactions as well. So you have to like input these all factors here. You have to update these forms with all those factors which can impact price of your virtual machines estimations. And now based on all selections, it's giving a price of $206, right? And here I can go, and again there is one more thing like support. So by default it is not included, like, but if you want to get a support from Microsoft, right, so they will give you like different type of supports, like developer support, standard supports, or professional direct supports. Okay, if I select the standard supports, it is going to charge me about $100 for $100 for that, right? And yeah, once we have already selected everything, then it will show the final price here. And now it's up, like if I want to save it, it will just save, okay? Or I want to share this link with someone, I can just click on share, and it will generate a link, and that link we can use, and we can share this with our team or whoever they want. Also, I can export this in form of Excel, okay? And yeah, and you can use it for your team meetings or presentations to your stakeholders, all those things, right? Similar to the pricing calculators, we have another calculators called TCO calculator. So pricing calculator is just like you are going to you are planning to have some new services, planning to have new solutions on Azure Public, and you want to just estimate a cost, how much it is going to have for that particular solutions, where the cost of total ownership or TCO calculator is basically like giving a comparisons between the infrastructure cost which you are having already on your data centers, and if you plan to move that complete infrastructures or set of infrastructures to Azure Public, how much it is going to cost, and it will give you very good comparative view, and it will give you the comparisons at every component levels, like it will give you a comparison at network level, storage level, compute level, like that. Okay, so let's start with total cost of ownership calculations. Okay, the very first like you can just put in a search like TCO and you will come to this links, Microsoft total cost of ownership TCO calculators. Okay, the first thing what you have to do here, you have to start a assessment. So part of assessment, you have to provide the informations for your on-premises infrastructures, right? So you are going to defining your workload, which is you have already running in your on-premises infrastructures, right? And you could have different kind of infrastructures, like you could have server, you could have a database, a storage, networking, all those things you are going to put here. And also you are going to give information about your operational cost as well, and that we will see in the second step of here. Okay, so first I'm going to give I'm going to define some workload as a server here, right? So click on add servers, and I'm going to give a workload, name of this workload, what workload I want to move, right? I'm going to say like babe app 01. So this is my one applications running in on-premises, and I'm going to define what are the components are used for that particular babe app applications. It might be running Windows servers, Linux servers, right? So I'm saying as a Windows servers, where it's running as a physical servers or virtual servers. Then you have to say your operating systems and how many servers are you are running these applications in on-premises. Let's take, I'm giving a 10 servers I have, which is running this particular applications for the high-availability and all those purposes. And then which platform it is running. It is running on Hyper-V or it is running on VMware, okay? Each servers, how many cores of CPU we have on premises, right? Take a sample value here, like I have a 8 CPU and all servers are running with 16 GB of or 32 GB of memory, right? The optimized by the CPU. So this is something like you have to analyze, or you should be knowing on your on-premises applications is running with what is the more utilizations on your application, whether it's a CPU intensive or it is a memory intensive, and you have to select that category here or optimize here, because Microsoft is going to TCO is going to select those virtual machines which have the CPU and optimized or memory optimized based on these selections. Okay, and this is like if you are using Windows Server 2008 or 2002 in your environment, right? Let's add another workload like babe app 2. Okay, and here I'm going to select again the virtual machines and the similar things like for the Linux operating systems, and I'm going to define the numbers of VM platforms and how many core we have for that VMs on premises and how much CPU I'm using, how much RAM I'm using, right? Then this is defining your compute, like server configurations, right? Now you need to define, like, do you use any database on premises? Yes, I use a database, so I have to say like babe app DB1, right? And what is a database running there? Like if it's depend on like whether it's the MySQL or MS SQLs or any of these. So I'm saying like MS SQL, and license type I'm selecting on premises. Again, this is a virtual machines there. Windows operating system is running, and suppose I have a 5 VMs running as a database, right? And I have to again define our CPU memory and all those things, right? And then destinations, where you, when you will move, when what you are planning to move on Azure, this database, do you want to have this as a PaaS service like SQL database, or you want to move this as a SQL servers VM, right? I'm saying I like to have as a PaaS service, right? And then you have to define like how much, what is a assumptions, like what is the size of database you have per servers, right? So give some things like some meaningful like 1000 or 400 GB or something like, yeah. And the maximum concurrent connections for your database, right? So I'm saying like 1000. It's just a numbers you need to give this on based on some analytics, some assessment tools which you will run against your current infrastructure, and based on whatever the report you will get from that assessment tool, you will provide it here based on that. Okay, I will just skip the second database. Then I'm going to a storage part, right? And what is the size of data like I have on, including all servers, right? I'm saying I have about 10 TB of data, including all servers, or 5 TB of data. And how much is backup size I having? Like I'm storing the backup for that production's data somewhere on premises. When we will move to Azure, we have to plan for that as well, right? Yeah, we want to go. If we are going to use the service like Azure Backup and all those things, how much space I'm going to give for that. So like take example, I'm saying the doubles 10 TB. Do you want to have any kind of archiving? Yes, I say like just 1 TB fine for the archiving. I'm not going to select any another storage. And then what should be my outbound bandwidth? And I'm saying including all applications 1 TB, or yeah, let's plan for the 1 TB, right? So now you see like I have defined all informations, our applications, and these all are the technical informations, right? Which is like how many CPU, how much memory, how many servers, all those things. If you move to next part of this, here it is going to talk about more on the operational cost as well, right? So operational cost, if you see, the few things are like if you are going to use the hybrid license benefit, if you have some software assurance coverage from the Microsoft, so you can say yes, no based on that. Then storage, you have selected the storage where we want to manage disk, and manage disk where we are going to replicate my disk to the geographic GRS in different geography, right? We will come to know about this GRS, LRS in advanced session, which is planned for the Sunday, right? Then the virtual machines cost. So enable the calculator to not recommended BS series virtual machine. Okay, this is very important information. It is saying like by default, it is going to recommend you the by default, it is going to recommend you the BS series. But if you don't like to recommend that, what is a BS series? Actually, BS series is the VM which have some burstable capability, like whatever the CPU things you will assign to this series of VMs. And if you are not using that much, right, it is going to give you some credit. And when you will be using more than that, at that time, it is going to use that credit and give you the bursted size. Like it is going to give you extra power based on your credits, right? Then here you come and you see the electricity cost and then some IT labor cost, right? So these are the cost which is actually your operational cost, right? And you have to give those things as well here. And you can you can give these informations, and then you can say next, right? Now it is going to generate a report, and here you see the report. It is saying like over a 5 years, it is giving a calculations over a 5 years, you are going to save this much money in form of US dollar. You can change the time frame if you want to have it for 1 year, or if you want to have it for 3 years, right? Also, you can change the regions here as well. Like if you want to deploy the same solutions for the 3 years in India, like any of the other regions like India, the cost will vary, right? And once you have this all informations, you can save these informations, or you can go down and you can download this information, share or save for the future use. If you download, it will give you a very good PDF format, and you can use for your presentations or your meeting. Now, if you come, if you scroll down here, this is what I was saying. This is going to give a comparisons based on the each components. Like it is giving a comparison on the based on the on-premises for the compute and in Azure, right? The another, if you see similar comparisons, it will give you at every level, like on data center cost, right? It will give you a networking cost, right? So you can use this tool for your plannings. If you are planning to move from the on-premises to Azure, you can use definitely this tool, and this will definitely help you to do the planning better and plan your budgets and all those things. The another things is service level agreement. So in Azure, you have a different service level assigned for the every resource. And this is a URL you can note down, and here you can come and you can look for the service level for the individual resource. Okay. Yeah, so that's all for the TCO and SLA. Let's move to the another preview features, right? They access Azure preview features. So how you are going to opt for any of the preview features? There is two way. Like one thing is like if preview features is available for all, then you can just go to the portals, right? And you can search for the marketplace. Like if you have something here, marketplace, yeah. And let's populate. Yeah, in marketplace you can write something like preview, right? And just search it. Right, so these are the preview features available, and it's publicly available preview features. Like everybody can go and opt for these preview features, right? If you want to provision a service, like take example, I'm just looking for one well-known. Take example, I want to have Windows servers with Gen 2 versions. Like Gen 2 is where you are going to have a UEFI boot kind of things, right? And if you want to get that, you can come here and you can create that service. Again, you have to select your like plan which operating system you want and what kind of generations you want, and based on that you can go and create. Some preview features are available only in not publicly, it's private, and once you come about that from the Microsoft news and some Microsoft portal, there will be a instructions given like how you can opt for that preview features, and it might ask you to send a mail or request through a form, and then Microsoft will analyze your requirement and then they will allow you to go for that particular preview features or not. There is a sites like called Microsoft Updates, right? On that site you can go and you can have look like what are the preview features are available, what are the general features are available. So let's see. Updates, okay. Sorry. Okay, so Azure Update, and here it will tell you like a roadmap kind of things, like what are the features planned for upcoming and which is going to release or which is already released on which months, and it will categorize based on the like now available, in preview, in development, those things. Okay, and based on that you can look for this. Maybe some of these services you can directly able to provision, but in some services you may need to ask Microsoft to allow on your subscriptions to provision this service. Okay, moving to our another lab, which is about the explore the Azure advisors. Okay, so as I told in beginning, like Azure advisors you can consider as your consultant, which helps you in analyzing or implementing the best practice for your solutions, which is already deployed in your Azure resource manager or in your Azure environment, right? So how it is going to do, like he will monitor, like Azure, it will be active as soon as you provision the service, it will be activated, and it will take a many different factors, various factors, like it will use your configurations, it will use your telemetry data, it will use your usage patterns, and based on those things, it is going to give you some very nice dashboard, and from there you can look for what are the best practices analyzed by the Microsoft and Azure, and it's recommending you to implement it, right? Basically, Azure Advisor is going to give a recommendations in 5 different categories. Like it is going to give a recommendations on based on the performance. It is going to give a like based on the reliability. Okay, so let's move to the portals and see. Okay, so let's go to home and look for the advisors, right? So yeah, you can see like this is dashboard of advisors. Okay, and these advisors are analyzing all the informations or all the resource which is I have provisioned in my subscriptions, right? And by default, it is going to give you recommendations based on the all subscriptions available or all subscriptions part of your Azure. You can filter it by the like which subscriptions you want or which for which service you want. So based on that, you can filter it, right? You can also download your recommendations. Like if I say download, it will just generate a PDF like here, if you see, and it will have a very nice view, and it will have the complete details about all the recommendations and what is the potential benefit you are going to get if you are implementing that particular recommendations, right? So those kind of recommendations it will give you. So as I'm saying, this is going to give you recommendations based on the 5 different category, or in 5 different category, you can say, like the cost, security, reliability, operations excellence, and performance. Okay, as you see on this dashboard right now, let me scroll. As you can see on this screen right now, like it is giving a recommendations to me on based on the cost, security, reliability, but even it is giving on the operational excellence, but it doesn't have anything on performance, because I have just started these services, right? And it doesn't have enough data to analyze the performance or give the recommendations on performance time. By the time, or it will just have like 1 day, 2 days, or it will detect those data or analyze those data, then it can give me some recommendations on performance as well. So what is the meaning of the cost? So basically in cost, it is going to analyze where you are wasting some resource, or where you are going to have some size of changing the size of your resource. Those kind of recommendations it can give. So what it's saying me, like I have some IP, public IP address, which is not associated with some resource, and in Azure cloud, like a public IP, it's not associated with any resource, is going to cost you, right? So, and it's giving me quick fix options also here. So if I click here quick fix, it is going to delete that public IP, or it's going to remediate if I have to attach or delete, right? So it's giving that kind of recommendations. Again, this will give you recommendations in 3 different impact level, like it will give you medium, and it will give you high, low in that case, right? The another one is a security, where it is going to work with, or it is going to get the data from the security center. Okay, and based on that, it is going to give you recommendations like what are the different security configurations you can implement for your environment, which can help you to have a protected from the like threat or vulnerability, all those things, right? And this data it takes from the security centers, right? And here, if you see, he's detecting some high impact risk, and some medium and some low. So if you see the nature of that, like high is I mentioned, like MFA should be enabled on account for the owner permissions on your subscriptions. Take example, like I'm using with some user here, which doesn't have which have the owner permissions, but MFA is not enabled. He's also finding I have given a permissions to owner permissions to some guest user or external users, right? And that is not the best or recommended way to do it, and that is what it's recommending me to take the actions on that. Okay. Similarly, it's giving like some of the NSG are exposed, like we have opened some port which should be restricted from the public network, right? But for my demo, I have enabled it, and it's recommending that is not the best practice. Okay. Now, if I move to reliability is basically talking about like your best practice based on your compute high availability or resource high availability, whether your resource is high available, whether you are getting the fault tolerance maintained for that particular resource or not. If you see the example, like it's saying enable virtual machines backup to protect your data from the corruptions and accidental deletions. So for these virtual machines, I have not enabled a backup, and this particular recommendations asking me to protect that. And again, this is a best practice, so it's not like it will not work without it. It will work, but best practice say like you should have your virtual machines protected always. You can have a similar example, like take example if you use unmanaged disk, right, or managed disk, and it will detect like unmanaged disks are, if LRS kind of things, it will give you like based on your usage and based on your telemetry data, it can give you recommendations like you should have your LRS disk replicated, or you should have moved to your managed disk for the getting better performance or getting the high availability kind of things. Operational excellence is basically like it's talking about different kind of alerts and notifications which you can enable for your environment, and you can integrate those alerts or notifications to get notified in advance or get them notified during any kind of service interruption. So as Vipin was talking, like there is a Azure Service Health, right? That gives you that's tell you like if there is any impact, any regions, any infrastructure is down, part of Azure global infrastructures. And since this particular notifications talking about like I have not enabled any such kind of notifications, that means in case something is going down, I'm not going to get notified, right? Then moving to the performance, as I told, like right now it doesn't have any recommendations, right? And this you can enable it can give you like once you provision the service, you run it for sometimes it will analyze the data and it can give you a recommendation, and the performance will be basically on the speed of your resources. Take example, if you are using unmanaged disk, right, which have some bottleneck on their IOs, and also they have high ability you have to maintain for that disk. So this particular tool will detect those kind of configuration, and it can say you like, okay, you migrate or you manage or move from unmanaged disk to managed disk, which have some high limit on the bottleneck, like IO bottlenecks and all those things, right? So similar information it will detect and present here. Then if you go to all recommendations, it will just combine everything here and it will present in a single view, right? Based on the advisors, you can use Azure Alerts or Azure Monitor. You will be not keep watching this dashboard always or not logging here always. So what you can do, you can go in Alerts, which is again, you see like this is a preview feature. That means Microsoft has enabled this publicly. It's available. You can use it, but still it's not in general available. That means Microsoft is not going to give you a support for this particular feature in case it is not working. Okay, it is just a try. Like you can try if it works, it will work, but you are not live. Microsoft is not liable to give you a support like general features or general available features, right? So what you can do in alerts, you can use the Azure monitors and alerts, and you create a advisor alerts, right? And on advisor alerts, you can define like some conditions, like whenever these conditions met, you should be getting notified. And how that notifications will come, you can define that as a part of the actions group. So if I go and create actions group, right? And here, if you see, like we have a different type of method like actions type. So either you can configure to get your notified by the emails, SMS, or you can integrate your ITSM tools like ServiceNow and all other things, and you can generate a ticket for yourself, right? So yeah, you can configure those options as well. Moving back to the dashboard of the recommendations. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is all how you can implement different, or you can use different services on Azure to maintain your Azure governance, policy, security. You can take the benefit of this tool to maintain these things. Okay. So yeah, that's all I had for this particular demo. Let me open a Q&A sessions, and if you have some things, your questions, definitely we have a Neeraj, Ashish, and Vipin going to answer your Q&A questions. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so we have been running Q&A, and you guys can still post your Q&A things over here in the chat. And I am going to share. Okay, so here are the details of the speakers. All right, so you guys can go ahead and connect with the speakers, as well as you can go ahead and join our Telegram group, and you can post your questions over there as well. And about the lab environment, we have some links which you can use for doing some kind of practice over there. This is Microsoft Learn platform. Microsoft gives you Microsoft Learn platform to use some sandbox environment to do some hands-on practices. So I have collected all the labs mostly related to today's content, and then we have some links for some more links for reference. Let me post that here in the chat. So you guys can go ahead and save these links, and whenever you have some time, you guys can go ahead and access the different freely available content by Microsoft to practice as well as to have your self-learning before giving your exam. Having said that, we have almost completed all the topics needed for this particular exam, and this is the third and the last session of this track. And we are also having a track on AG 104, that is Azure Administrator Associate, so which will have more detailed discussion about the similar kind of topics. So if you have not registered for that track, I would request you to go ahead and watch our YouTube channel for previous sessions on that track, and you can register for the session using the link that I have posted in the chat. So we are also planning to host DevOps and Architect session. So we will be posting details in social media as well as in our Telegram group. So if you have not joined our Telegram group, I would highly recommend you to join that. You have majorly 3 benefits after joining there. One is definitely you will get all the updates having our most latest session and webinars. Second is, the most, interactive discussion happens over there. There are more than 7,000 people over there. You can raise your question related to any concept, any topic, real-time issues, or anything related to Azure, and people are there to help you, including all the AzureTalk core team members. And it also helps you. We have a job portal link, job portal as well within the Telegram, where many people post their job requirement, or many people post their resume in terms of posts, and then people connect them to have a discussion over any kind of requirement they have. So you can definitely go there and join there and have your Azure learning on the next level. Having said that, I would highly recommend you to join our AG 104 track, and if you are looking for more deep down sessions, we will be soon launching Architect and DevOps track. We are hoping to launch the DevOps track in mid of the August. So keep updated. And this is it from us. Neeraj, do you want to say something before we close for the day?
So yeah, thank you everyone. I really appreciate all the audience. I know it's 3 hour. It's not easy to get 3 hours on the weekends, but I really appreciate everyone taking out time to trying to learn new technology. And I know it's a very tough time right now because of Corona. A lot of people have lost jobs, so this is the right opportunity to learn new technology. And this is where the whole team, the AzureTalk core team, decided that we will contribute something. We'll give back to community, and hence you see all these sessions. So we have come together. So I really want to thank the audience, and I also want to thank the AzureTalk core team and the speakers, especially Vipin and Ram. And Ashish, all of you have done a wonderful job. And, again, it's a community, AzureTalk. So I highly encourage everyone to check out and do join our AzureTalk Telegram group, which is t.me/AzureTalk. And also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post all the contents. All the recorded sessions will be posted there, and plus also the link to the slides. You can also check out our website, which is azureeasy.com. There, all the details, everything will be published. So with that, I really, I thank you everyone. And if you have any questions which we couldn't answer, please feel free to post those questions in AzureTalk Telegram group. And also, as Ashish pointed out, we have a job board also where the hiring managers are also there, and plus people are seeking the job, so they also post their jobs, so that would help you with that. So that's something probably you can do. Yeah, so that's it. And in case if you have any other further questions, if we couldn't answer those questions, don't get discouraged, you can go and post those questions in our AzureTalk Telegram group, and one of us or one of the community members will be able to help you with the answers of those questions. So thank you everyone, and we will close the sessions, and post this session we will publish the recording on our YouTube channel. So keep an eye, and we'll also send an announcement to all the people who have registered for our session. So you will soon receive the email or with the link for our recorded sessions.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks all.
All right.
Have a
Thank you.
weekend.
Bye.